You're listening to Girls with Grafts, a burn community podcast created by Phoenix Society for Burn Survivors, a leading nonprofit dedicated to supporting the burn community. In this podcast, we'll talk with burn survivors, share resources to help with supporting and improving burn recovery, and discuss how to prevent burn injuries. Here are your hosts, burn survivors and Phoenix Society's marketing team, Amber Wilcox and Rachel Kudlak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Girls with Grafts. I am Rachel Kudlak. I'm one of the hosts of the show, and today I am joined by my lovely co-host, Amber Wilcox.
Hi there. I know I missed one or two episodes there, Rachel, so I'm glad to be back. My schedule these days has been a mess, but it's good to see you.
Yes, it's so good to see you, and apologies in advance if I sound a little nasally on this recording. I'm a little under the weather, but the podcast and the show must go on.
The allergies are terrible. I looked at my backyard. We have this picnic table, and yesterday I was sitting outside and I looked and there's just like this sheet of pollen across the top of the table, and I was like, I have to get rid of that, but I have to take like 4 allergy pills before I try to go get rid of that on the
You need to
table.
wear a mask.
Yeah, mask. It's so bad. And you see that we're in pollen season, so I feel like that just makes everything worse. Well, today's podcast is powered by Grafts Knee-Jet, a personal injury firm dedicated to supporting burn survivors in New York and New Jersey. They understand the physical, emotional, and financial challenges that come with burn injuries and fight tirelessly to secure justice and compensation for their clients. Receive a free consultation by visiting graftsKneeJet.com, and we'll make sure we put that in the show notes as well. Do you want to introduce today's guest? I'm excited. I love it when I don't know anything about the guest, so we can have a fun combo. So go ahead and introduce our new guest today.
Yeah, so today we are welcoming on Ashley Nelson. Ashley is a 33-year-old and sustained burns over 30% of her body when she was 24. She currently works as a sales account manager and holds a degree in psychology. So we are so excited. Ashley actually sent us a message on LinkedIn and asked to be on the show. So we're so excited to welcome you, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for having me, you guys.
Awesome, Ashley. Well, to get started, can you tell us a little bit about your burn injury? We always like to ask, as you probably know, I understand you're a fan of the show, how your injury occurred and a little bit about your journey as a burn survivor.
Yeah, for sure. So the date of my accident was January 7th, 2017. As Rachel mentioned, I was 24 years old. And at that time, something we do here in Tennessee is we like to have bonfires. We like the country, outdoorsy stuff. So this was something that we did on a regular basis. I was at my best friend's house and we were just having a bonfire, and something exploded in the bonfire, caught me on fire and my best friend's husband. I got burned 35%. He got burned 70%. So when that happened, my elementary school drilled it in my head to do the stop, drop, and roll. So that was just my first instinct. So I did the stop, drop, and roll. And I didn't know, but I later found out, I guess the grass or the soil, something ended up giving me a fungus in my skin grafts, in my burns. So by the time that I got to the burn center here in Memphis, my burn doctor was like, okay, we got to save, her legs because I'm burned on my legs, and skin grafts on my legs. So he had to take care of the burn injuries. But then once he realized that I did have an infection from the fungus and everything, he was basically I have 24 to 48 hours to get this cured before it enters her bloodstream, because if it enters her bloodstream, then, that was going to be the death of me, basically. So if it wasn't the fire, it was the fungus. So it was a 4-month long journey in the burn center. My doctor, Dr. Hickerson, was the best doctor. He's he's just phenomenal. Like, he's so great. When I do have kids, I'll probably name one of my kids after him, because like I just appreciate that man so much. So yeah, then after I got home from the hospital, I did not go back to I did not go back to work for that year. I just took the year off because I've had like over 50 surgeries. A lot of them are like burn reconstruction, the skin grafts, the laser surgeries for, scar tissue. So just like the whole recovery process was just a journey, for me. I was 24 years old. And so it took, in my opinion, it was like 24 years of my life to like learn to really love my body, like, and love the skin I am in. And then I had my accident, and then I had to like relearn how to love my body again. And, just going through all the motions and like the challenges that came with.
I have a question for you in terms of, so we hear stop, drop, and roll a lot. And there are so many burn survivors, I feel like that instinctively is like what they remember. Did your doctor say that like there was an alternative, like, was that the right thing to do in that moment? I know for me, like my husband put me in the shower right away for my burn injury. And like looking back, it was probably something we shouldn't have done because I was like freezing afterwards. So looking back now, we know not to do that. But is it like something where he was like, you shouldn't have stopped, dropped, and rolled? Or was it just like the impact of the situation? Like, did he feel like that not all grafts can do that, right? If you stop, drop, and roll, it's just that for whatever reason, that particular situation that day caused that, correct?
Yeah, correct. And actually, when I did do the stop, drop, and roll, there was some point in it. I'm not sure if it was like in the beginning or towards the end. My best friend actually took off her jacket that I just got her for Christmas. But anyways, like took off her Carhartt jacket and like smothered the fire. So like she was, whatever did not tame the fire from the stop, drop, and roll, like her jacket was able to kind of smother that fire.
We keep now, as a result of a lot of like conversations we have on this show, my husband and I keep fire blankets in our kitchen just for that reason, so that if something were to happen, right, we would know to get that. But we keep fire blankets and we keep a fire extinguisher like in our kitchen, little like, and I feel like a lot of people don't think to buy that. We bought that one year for our families for Christmas, and I think they all thought we were like nuts, but we were like, you just don't know, right? Like having those are so important. Like it's just so good to have something and not need it than to be in that situation and then not be able to use it.
I'm the same way. I have the same things in my house now. Before I never did, and I would probably never have, but like now I do.
No, but it's so important, and it shows like how like stop, drop, and roll is still good, but in the sense of like what you were saying, like it's always good to just have a fire blanket, and it's such a simple little, like you can get them on Amazon. We can keep the link in the show notes, but they're just like little, and we can hang them up in your little like closet or something. They're small, but they can save your life. So definitely think they're important.
For sure. And Ashley, I know when I was kind of asking you like topics you wanted to go over on the podcast, you kind of talked about this shift from being a burn victim to a burn survivor. And that's something, we often talk about at Phoenix Society. So, you talked about being home for a year after your injury. Like, what was that shift? How did that look like for you, both like mentally, emotionally, physically? How did you go from changing that mentality you had?
Yeah, for me, I do give a lot of credit to Phoenix Burn Society because I went to one of the Congress meetings or conferences, excuse me, and just like having that experience. And I don't know, it was like an epiphany for me one day. And maybe I heard someone's testimony. They were, they kept referring to themselves as a burn survivor. And like, up until that point, I was like, I'm a burn victim, but then I was like, I feel like that's a load in itself, just the word victim. And so like, once I shifted and I was like, I'm not a burn victim, I'm a burn survivor. Like I survived that. Like I'm literally like walked through hell. I feel like the flames of hell, like, and it's just like, changing it and just calling myself a survivor and embracing that I did go through that and I survived that. I don't know. It just took a shift in me. It just kind of like, as soon as I like shifted that in my mind, at first, I'm a very bubbly person and like very happy person. So like, even in the hospital, I was not like negative. I was not like, having a pity party or anything like that. Like I wasn't like, and I know everyone like kind of handles things differently. I just did not question God on like why this happened to me or anything. So throughout that process, just saying, I'm a burn victim, I guess I was just like throwing it around loosely a little bit, like if I'm being transparent. And then just having that epiphany after that conference and just embracing that I survived that. It just opened a lot of doors for me. Like I was able to talk about my injury more. I was able to, not get triggered as much. Again, like I said, I embraced it. So when people would ask like what happened or ask for me to talk about my story or my testimony, like I had no problems doing it as before I kind of did. I had my reservations or, my hands would get sweaty. It's just like, I guess I was getting triggered, in the moment. But yeah, after I just it was a mental shift for me to embrace that. Just as simple as it sounds so simple, but like it was a total mental shift for me.
Yeah. And sometimes it can, I was going to say it can be like that simple. Just like you said, like hearing another survivor, meeting another survivor for the first time, like whether that's at a conference, whether that's just at the hospital, that just knowing that like you're not alone, I think can obviously go a really long way, and that like I'm not a victim, I am a survivor of this. And for some, it can happen pretty quickly. For others, it takes years, which is okay. We all have our different journey. And, but yeah, I kind of loved hearing that, like, yeah, it just happened. It wasn't, I don't know. I think that can be really powerful. Like, it doesn't have to be like a huge, like sign or a huge, like awakening. It can be just a simple thing of hearing someone else talk about their journey. And that can really benefit and help you.
For sure.
Oh, and actually, I guess for you, like we just said, it wasn't it was a simple shift, but, what advice, I guess, would you give other survivors who, maybe are having a pity party for themselves or kind of in that mentality of like having a really difficult time adjusting this mentality from victim to survivor?
Yeah, I mean, the best advice I would give, I would first by starting out by saying like your feelings are valid, whatever those feelings may be, throughout that process, because it is a journey. The whole thing is a journey, whether you're in the hospital bed still or just coming home, or maybe it's years after your, journey with everything. I think just embrace your feelings and don't kind of negate them, just kind of work through them. Just whether, if you're sad, allow yourself to be sad. If you're mad, allow yourself to be mad, but just don't stay there. Like you can feel those feelings, but just don't stay there. And then give yourself some grace and give yourself some credit, for everything that you have went through. I think that's important. I do, sometimes I'll speak to burn survivors still, whether it's at the burn center or within my community. And I just let them know, like, give yourself some grace. There's going to be days that are harder than others. And everything's going to be okay. Don't let it consume you. Don't let the negative, thoughts consume you. And just hope and pray that the next day is better than the last day,
So I understand you have a degree in psychology. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You're currently a sales account manager. Did your degree in psychology, you feel like influence the way that you looked at your recovery, or did it help you understand the tools that you needed for that recovery?
I do think it helped because, so before my injury, I could tell you probably everything every book could say about depression. Like I could, read you verbatim the books that they give us in school. But I just never really truly experienced that until my injury. And then like, it's totally different, So I think just having that knowledge and having those tools to work through it, I think it's very important for you to talk to somebody. I think, whether that's therapy or whether that's like, and I'm not saying that because of like me going to school for psychology. I'm just saying, it could be a best friend. It could be a parent, a sibling, just having that outlet for you to talk to somebody. I just think that's very important. And those were the tools that I used when yes, it came from my degree, but like I was able to use it throughout my recovery process and my journey. But also for me, like my hospital that I was at, they actually asked me to come back to kind of speak to patients from time to time to kind of help them through their transition, if you will. And that helped me. That for me was very rewarding because I was able to see the people like in the very beginning and then at the end, in the beginning it's hard and it's hard to understand. For me, I didn't know anything about skin grafts, donor sites. I didn't know anything about that stuff. So like to have that knowledge and to speak to that knowledge, to kind of speak on their level, like meet them where they're at, whether it's in the hospital bed or in their physical therapy room, which we love so much. Actually, no, I actually hated it. But my physical therapist, like I ended up loving them all, but I did not like them in the beginning and throughout the process. I was kind of very vocal about it. So like they know, but I love them all. Like I'm still friends with them on Facebook. But yeah, I think just having that and using those tools did help me.
I think that's so powerful. Kind of like we were saying, like whether it's therapy, a peer support visit, joining an online, our Facebook group, for example, like just having someone or like you said, it can be a friend, a family member, someone you trust, having someone that you feel that you can be open and honest with, obviously can be tremendous with, the healing journey. Yeah, well, I do kind of want to switch gears a little bit because I know, again, something we had talked about before we started recording was about dating. And dating can obviously feel vulnerable for anyone, but especially burn survivors. So just kind of, I guess, like, how did your injury change the way that you approach dating in general?
Total 180. It changed it completely for me. So prior to my accident and my injury, yes, my personality has always been the same as far as being bubbly, but I was more like out there, like if I saw a handsome man, I'd be like, hey, I was just, I would always put myself out there. And after my accident, like I kind of spoke on a little bit earlier, like it took me 24 years to love that skin I was in. And then like after my injury, I had to relearn to love the skin I was in. And I'll be transparent. I'm still not 100% there. Dating is still hard, because it's that conversation you have to have because and I know everyone's burn injury is different. You have the visible scars and the non-visible scars, and mine are not visible. Like my hand is burned, but I don't have skin grafts on my hand. So you really can't tell, like if I don't show it, but like my legs are the ones with the skin grafts on both of my legs. And then from where they had to cut away, my skin, to get rid of that fungus, my legs are disproportioned. So like I have one leg that's bigger than the other. And, some people don't notice it right off, but some do. And then I know I do because like I focus on it. Right. But just like having that discussion is so hard. It is so hard, because I've debated, like, do I tell when I'm in my dating phases and talking to getting to know someone, like, do I tell them up front? Do I tell them like while we're talking, like conversing, or do I tell them on our first like face-to-face date? Or, like I battle with it so much because it is a struggle, and I have had, men stop talking to me because of it, because it's a lot to handle, like I get it, but like it's also like each time that happens, it's like a knife all over again. Like, oh my gosh, like here we go. Like I thought he was great. I thought he was going to understand. And then I tell him something like this and he's just like, oh, I'm out. So it's been really hard. It's just been really difficult to date. It's just, yeah, it's really hard. And I I can relate to anybody who's going through that as well. Because it's a struggle day in and day out, where to go, how the conversations need to be had. It's hard. It's really hard. Mm-hmm. It's probably my biggest struggle that I have post injury.
Well, Rachel knows this, but I'm a big reality TV junkie fan, and I don't know if you're where I'm going with this, Rachel, but have you watched Love is Blind this season yet?
Which show?
Love is Blind.
I have not seen it this season.
Have you watched it, Rachel?
I haven't watched the season yet.
I'm disappointed in you. But
sorry, I know.
I will tell you, I was like in the background cheering when she was not a burn survivor, but she had a birthmark on her left arm, but her whole arm is skin grafted. And it looks as if she were a burn survivor. Like her arm is just all skin grafts. She had to have a big birthmark cut out. And if you haven't watched Love is Blind, like, it's the dumbest show on earth, but it is also a really good show. It's that's why we watch reality TV.
It's like guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but they're behind these closed doors and they have these open conversations for weeks before they actually meet each other in person. And I was like so excited because I feel like I've been wanting forever someone with a disability or a physical difference, facial difference, to be on that show. And I thought it was really fitting that there was someone with skin grafts on there, because I think it's really important to showcase like what those people go through. And I am still rooting for her, but in the show specifically, right, that's something she struggled with, even telling the folks, even though they couldn't see her, right? And she's a beautiful girl, like truly beautiful. But it is something that she struggles with, and she talks about that struggle in dating. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend just being able to see that moment, if anything, where she struggles to talk about it, because I think it's something that we can all relate to. Especially when it comes to like physical differences, right? Like how people are going to perceive you. And then in dating, right? Like that's a whole nother layer. But I also think, Rachel, we should put in our show notes, we haven't checked in with the girls that had the dating app. What's it called?
Yeah. Dateability or something like that.
Dateability, yeah. I think. Yeah, we should put that in the show notes as well. It was that we interviewed them. Oh gosh, I think in like season 2 or 3.
Yeah. Early.
And they had an app specifically for folks with disabilities or physical differences to help with dating because of the struggle that it is. But I also have burns on my legs, Ashley, and I can completely relate to what you're saying. It's so funny. It's not funny, but my son just the other day started noticing my grafts. And before, like I feel like he just has it. He's 2, but he wasn't at the age to. He walked up to my grafts the other way out of the blue. Like I'm standing there and I hadn't worn shorts in a while. It's been chilly here. And he walked up to me. He's like, "Mommy, your boo-boo. Is it okay?" And I was like, "It's okay." But he genuinely, like, he saw the difference. So kids see the differences, even though you don't teach them that, right? He sees that mommy's leg looks different than somebody else's. But he was genuinely concerned and showed like the genuine compassion. And it's just, we don't teach our kids, right? Like that there's differences, but they still see them. And so how we handle them. And I told Rachel this, but when we met in person, Rachel, it was like important to me that he sees other survivors and gets to meet other survivors too. And I want him to grow up in a way that he understands like differences are okay, but not everyone grows up like that. Right. So that's the other struggle of like dating is like, if you're not exposed to something like that, it can be a struggle as well. So I understand the challenges and just cannot imagine like dating right now. Like luckily I had met my husband before I was burned, but it is a struggle. With that said, watch Love Is Blind.
So I do watch it. I just haven't watched it this season. So
this season you have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch it this season
Yeah.
for sure. And kids are so innocent.
I'm not far in, but as soon as I saw her, I was like, it's about damn time. Like, I feel like we have been needing somebody that wasn't just like a cookie cutter, right, on that show. And like, good for her. And I think like the facial difference community and just even survivors in general, even though she's not a burn survivor, like, we can all relate to her story and what she's going through and the struggles she had. Even just to tell that person, right? Like, because if you tell someone that and then they choose you, they don't choose you or choose someone else because of that, that is a struggle.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and Ashley, I so appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing all of that with us. Because I think the other thing that can be tough is, not everyone knows a burn survivor. And we always, say like you often don't know about the burn survivor community until you or someone is impacted, and then you know everything about us. But so I also think that can be like, I get it from like an outsider's point of view who's never met a survivor who, if you're talking about having burn scars, unfortunately in the media we see today, if a burn survivor is the villain, has, gory looking scars, and we don't have positive portrayals, so it's also like that isn't also helping either, when you're having those conversations of, they only see, you think of like Freddy Krueger and you don't think of, healed normal burn survivors.
That's why I was so excited for this portrayal, because I felt like again, it wasn't a burn, but it looked as if she had her, like, a burn injury on her arm. And we just don't see that in like, especially in reality TV, right? Like, it doesn't happen. Movies aside, right? We see it in a different way, but we just don't see it at all. It's usually these cookie cutter folks that are absolutely gorgeous. But again, it doesn't show like those that have differences, and not that differences aren't beautiful, but we just don't show that. And I really appreciated how they showed how beautiful and confident this girl was, but also showed the vulnerability that she faced with having a difference. And I don't think that we talk about, or don't even have that in reality TV. And how many of us watch reality TV all the time? So I do think, I think it's important. And so I was very excited to see it. I was back here like cheering for no reason other than like, she looks like me, right? She's got burns on her legs or on her arm. And I know what it's like to have burns on your legs, right? I think that's, it can be a blessing and a curse sometimes, Ashley, in the sense of like, I can put pants on and nobody knows, right? That I've had scars on my leg, but it's also at what level do you want to share that with someone or talk to them about it? And I've had it before where like, you tell them about it, you're wearing pants, and then you show up the next time and you're wearing shorts, and the first thing they do is look at your legs, right? They want to know, they want to see. And a lot of it's curiosity, but I think it can be difficult to have confidence when we're trying to be vulnerable. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the point, and I mean, my accident was 2017, so I'm 9 years into it. So like, I haven't gotten to the point where like I'm comfortable wearing shorts outside of my home. Like I'll wear them at my house all day, every day. But like, I have gotten to the point, and I feel like it's a little baby step, that I will wear, jeans with like holes in them that you can clearly see the skin grafts. Like if I'm, if I have my legs crossed and like the hole is on my knee, then like you can definitely see the skin grafts. So like I've gotten to that point, and I mean, I'm not ashamed of them. It's just that conversation, and it's just those constant, stares and glares. And, like when I go get a pedicure, that's probably the most vulnerable part that I, environment that I've been in, if you will, because, you got to roll up your leg, your jeans, and, so people see it, and it's very uncomfortable for me. I'm not going to lie, just sitting in that pedicure chair, because I see the people staring and glaring. no one asks questions, and I think that's a little frustrating part for me because
Mm.
I'm a curious person and I'm very vocal. So I have to take that in account that not everybody is as vocal. Like if I saw something, I'd be like, oh, like what happened? Or, like I would just ask, I would break that ice for that person. But I don't have that. I don't get that and I live in a small community, a very small town. So a lot of people just stare and glare, and usually I just have to like start messing with my phone or something because like it does bother me, like it's kind of, I'm very self-conscious about it already. So like now that I'm just trying to get my feet done, why do people have to stare? I just want to get a nice pedicure. Like why? So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm getting there, eventually, but it's a struggle. And I think, and I'm sure I'm sure you can relate just having skin grafts on your legs, but like for me, I think that's what's also harder for, maybe like men, because men are so visual. So like, men like legs, most men, I would think. So like, when it gets to that time, where you're intimate, that's what they're going to feel and see. And, like that's it. And so that's a little difficult. I'm a God-fearing woman. I love Jesus. And, Jesus brought me through all of it. Like I give him all the glory for sure. So like, I know if he brought me through that, he will bring me somebody amazing that's going to love my scars. Like I don't doubt that at all. But it's still just like getting to that point. Like it's just like the transition, getting there as far as like the talking phase with this person and that person. Yeah, it's just, it's hard to navigate.
It always strikes me when I know Amy talks about like the ability to use like the smile and normalizing when folks are saying you, and it really impacted me, Rachel, even at our meeting in Orlando, because my son was there for the first time, like we mentioned, and he had never met a burn survivor. And whether they did this intentionally or not, I know there were a couple of burn survivors that do have visible scars there, and they all came right up to my son, smiled, and shook his hand. And I think like almost like beating someone to the punch of being concerned or not knowing. And like, I don't know if Amy and the folks that were there that night even knew that they did that, but like they came up, they said hello to him right away. They were fun and they were happy, and they showed that like, that's who they are as a person. And sometimes I think that's the approach that I also take when it comes to like, if I'm in that pedicure chair and someone wants to look, I stare back, right? And just say like, hey, like, right. Like there's obviously like, I am more than just the scars that are on my legs. And I know that. And I think there's that confidence that I have, that I know, like, if they want to look, they can look, and they have to know that there's more to me than that person that's, that has the scars on my legs. Right. Cause I went through something really hard. And if you want to ask me about it, fine. If you don't, like, I'm okay with that too. Right. So I think there's a level of like, for me, it's, and I really saw that in Orlando too. Like there's more to me than the scars, but if you want to get to know me, I will come and talk to you, and I will show you who I really am. And I think, that was so impactful for me, for my son, because I know and love these people, but my son is new to this environment. And so coming up to him and showing them that they're people just like anyone else, and just being, or that you are someone just like anyone else, and being able to smile. And like, if that person really wants to judge me and not try to get to know me above what's on my legs, fine. But for me, it's that like, I need to show them who I am, and maybe I have to prove that even more so now. But I think that's what I walk out the door with, right? If I'm going to have shorts on, whether it's we're going to Disney or it's, it's 100 degrees here in Florida, like I can't hide. I can, but I'll sweat to deal with it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I think I go out with like, either you're going to love me or not. And I think that took me being able to accept that part of myself of like, people are going to stare. I have to accept that. But they also need to know that I'm more than just what's on my legs. And they can either love that, or they can just choose to not deal with that. And I think that's the approach that I've started to take, of like, it sucks. I have them there. And yes, I don't always feel pretty, right, or beautiful with them on. And even though we talk about loving our scars and stuff, sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. But I try to take that approach of like, you know what? There is more to me than what's on my legs. And I've been through some hard stuff. I have lots of fun stories to tell. And if you don't want to get to know me, then that's fine, whether it's sitting in the pedicure chair or not. And I think that's just the reality of it, right? If so, that's how I have to approach it now, because I'm not going to live my life hiding, right? And I know that's hard to say. It's easier said than done, but like, I've had to embrace it. And I think because of where I live, I had to embrace it sooner, of like, I can wear pants forever and not like be comfortable, right? Or I can wear my shorts and just know that there's going to be stairs, but at the end of the day, like, this is who I am.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach, because and I do feel like I have to work harder at just getting to know somebody and somebody getting to know me. And it is hard because, I'm not tooting my own horn over here, but I have a bomb personality. Like, I know I'm a good woman. So I know, and I know I'm gonna be a good wife to somebody one day, but it's just like, yeah, I have to like show them that, but now I have to show them that even more, because I know that may be a small barrier for somebody. I'm not saying it's going to be a huge barrier, but it may be a small barrier for somebody. So we have to get over that roadblock a little bit.
So what it sounds like is you're going to be putting in your application for the next season of Love is Blind.
I mean, sounds like it. I've thought about it. I have thought about it.
No, I love that. That's great. You should definitely apply though.
We'll be nominating.
I'll be like, shout out to my girls, Amber and Rachel. Please. Yes, shout out to them.
That's right. I'll be in the background like, yes, I finally made it on the show. My husband's what do you mean? You've been married.
No, we made it, guys.
We made it.
That was our we made it moment.
Yeah. No, but then I guess, obviously when you have to open up and kind of share these hard conversations, what do you wish, I guess, the outside world understood more about dating a burn survivor? Or what do you wish, I guess that the world knew about what it's like as a burn survivor dating, especially in today's world where unfortunately a photo and an image is the first thing we judge people off of these days?
Yeah, I think in the dating world, for someone on the other end that may be dating a burn survivor, I think it's very important to be educated about it. Whether you're asking that person you're dating or just do your own research on it. Don't go to the internet and type in like skin grafts and look at the images, because it's going to be, there may be some skin grafts that look like that, and there may be some skin grafts that do not look like that. I think just doing the research, if you find that person that interesting, and if you are, that amazed by them and you want to like pursue a relationship with them, I think you should give them that fair chance to either have that open dialogue about it, ask those crucial questions, because me as a burn survivor, I want you to ask those questions. I want you to say like, I would love to see your scars, because that shows me that you went through something traumatic and hard, and, it got you to who you are today, and your scars are beautiful, and just reassure them, because like Amber said it, like, some days it's easier said than done. We can embrace, feeling pretty, and we can embrace that our scars are beautiful. We can embrace those things. But some days it's just so hard, and some days we can't. And sometimes we need that small little pep talk from whoever we're dating, whoever we're with, to just say like, you're beautiful. Your scars are beautiful. Like, just that reassurance. And just get educated on it. Ask the questions, even if they are hard to, ask.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good point. So when and if you don't want to answer this, totally fine. But when you are sharing, about your scars with someone that you're talking to or getting to know, that's a really tricky conversation that we hear from survivors, that they don't even know how to do it. So then they avoid dating altogether. So what, I guess, if you want to share maybe a little bit about how you approach that, or what advice you would give to other survivors who have no idea where to start when having those conversations.
Yeah, for sure. So I think like, to take it kind of to the beginning of things, I guess it all depends on like how you meet this person and what platform, like if it's a dating site or if you organically meet them at the store, right? It's all going to look different. So the advice that I give, and I guess the better results, if you will, that I've had was having that conversation face to face with them instead of via message or phone call, because like it's easier for them to understand when they can see your face telling your story, giving your testimony. Like it's easier because they can either see that it's really hard for you. Like I did have someone tell me, like, I can tell this is really hard for you. And I appreciate you sharing that story with me. Like, and that was a great response for me to hear that. Not everyone gave me that response. That was just one person, but like, still like it was a great response. But so the advice I would give is, for one, do it face to face. For two, just be transparent, let them know that from beginning to end, like what that injury looked like, what that recovery looked like for you. I mean, because for me, technically I still need to have those laser surgeries because of my scar tissue, building up. So like, that's something that they kind of need to know on the front end. Like, this is something I may have to go through sometime in the future. It may not be tomorrow or next year or anything like that. And I think if that person asks to see your scars, if you're that comfortable to show them, I think you should. I embrace that. But there's times where I haven't been comfortable with showing, my scars. I would be very honest and transparent that, I'm just not there yet. We're in our dating phase. We're in our getting to know each other phase. Like, I want you to get to know me and not my scars. Like, I want you to know my story and I want you to know what I went through, but I don't want you to define my scars as me. I don't like, because my scars don't define me. So I don't want you to define that as me as well. But I think it is important for you to have that conversation. And if you have hidden scars, show the scars when you're ready. Show the scars when you feel comfortable with it. And if you are embracing them all day, every day, girls, men, hats off to you, because like, I love that for you. I do. And I will get there one day. Like, it's not an if, it's when. So like, I definitely, that's the advice that I have. I know it's hard. I know the struggle is real. I am the driver of that struggle bus because I know it's tough. So just being transparent and having that conversation face to face is I think a big part of it.
I won't give any spoilers away, but I will say, like, back to Love Is Blind, when she told her story, right? The reaction she gets from different folks. I always say the reaction you get from someone that you tell your story to, like, will help you determine whether or not you want to be with that person, right? Like, or want to be, even just for me, it's to be friends, right? If I tell you my story and like, either you don't say to me, like, you understand how hard it was for me to tell you, or you didn't realize, or you are empathetic, I feel like that is telling, right? For someone like, and if you're not going to be like that, then I don't want you around. And the girl in Love Is Blind had that similar experience, and it's exactly what she did. And again, I was in the background, like, cheering for her, right? Like, you don't want someone in your life that's not going to be understanding and empathetic, but also understand that that was a difficult thing to share. You just don't. And so I think you learn a lot from a person when you do share those difficult, intimate things with them.
Well, and if you are looking for a life partner, if you have to, just echoing both your points of like, if someone you're getting to know who you're looking for a life partner in can't accept or isn't empathetic or doesn't show you a response that you like, then like, that's not the person for you, because looks change. Hate to tell everyone, we all get old. and look different. Accidents happen just because your burn injury happened now. Like, what happened if you were together with that person and they're not open to it when you're talking to them? Like, it's just, I get that's tough to hear. And I've been on the other side of that too. And it's like, well, I really like this person. I just don't understand why they can't accept like my scars or like this little thing. And it's like, looking back, it's like those things you wish you could tell like yourself 10 years ago of like, don't waste your effing time on that guy. He's not worth it.
Right.
But it's hard. It's hard in the moment. And we're not, no, I know none of us are like counting that, but that's why it's important to surround yourself with, other burn survivors or friends that are supportive who can be there for you and help you, see the light at the end of the tunnel that, there's loser men, there's loser women, there's loser everyone out there.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, you gotta find the right one for you.
That's right. I agree.
Yeah. Well, actually, I know we are coming up on time, but we do have some final questions for you. But I just want to again thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your dating experience with us. I know, like I said, this topic is probably one of the most common topics that come up in support group, our peer support chats, like intimacy, relationships, just body confidence in general is something that I think most survivors struggle with. And it's always, not, I want to be like, it's always great to know that someone's also in that struggle bus with you, even if it's not, the happy ending right now, you will get there. And it's just, I think, like to the point we made at the beginning of the episode of like, sometimes these simple moments of hearing that someone else is going through this can be so life-changing for a survivor. So I just really thank you for being open and honest with us. And I know a lot of our survivors listening are also appreciative of that.
Of course. Thanks. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pass it to Amber to kick off our final 2 questions of the day.
Absolutely. Well, we always ask our guests final 2 questions. I switched it up this season. If this season of your life, so the one that you're in now, had a soundtrack or a song, what would it be? I always love to hear people's taste in music.
Probably Worthy of It All by CeCe Winans. That's it's a great song.
I love that. I don't think I know that song.
It. I don't
Yeah,
think
we'll have to listen.
Either.
It's a Christian gospel song, but it's just, in this season, in the beginning, like I've struggled just being like, am I worthy of that relationship? Am I worthy of being someone's wife and a mother to a child one day? Like, and so it's just saying like throughout the struggles, like Jesus is worthy of me giving it all of the control to him. So because I shouldn't be worrying about this because it's God's plan. At the end of the day, it's not my plan.
Yes, exactly. No, thanks for sharing that. We'll make sure we have that song in our show notes as well. So, but with that, it is time for our final question, which is our Phoenix partner question today, sponsored by Grapper and Kneejet. Their question is, what is one message you hope sticks with listeners today?
Don't let this be the end of your story. Let it be the beginning.
I love that.
Well,
Awesome.
we really appreciate you joining today. This has been great conversation. I think this is so helpful too for the folks that might be getting out there and dating. We are so excited to hear your dating story. And more importantly, I will be certain to watch you on Love is Blind next season.
I'll send you guys my autograph now. So
okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Well, you have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Girls with Grafts. If you are enjoying this content, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.